Let's go make a killing.
All right.
Welcome to the Las Vegas Football Contest Show.
10 to the 5 to the 4, play 1, touchdown!
The sharpest football contest show in the land.
I'll take the action. My Birds, Benjamin Franklin's team, favored by 1.5 points. I'll give you 3 more.
You're now riding shotgun with 2 former contest winners in Brady Cannon and James Salinas. And getting a former player's perspective with 9-year NFL veteran Mike Pritchard.
Let's go!
As they guide you through strategy, process, and your contest picks each and every week of the season.
I do like the idea of a parlay.
Now here's your host, Brady Cannon.
Happy Thanksgiving week, everybody. Las Vegas football contests are at a fever pitch. Boy, the stress is for real. Amongst all the cranberry dressing, stuffing, everything is going pretty crazy right now as we roll into week 13 in the NFL season, episode 15, season 2 of the Las Vegas football contest show presented by Circa Sports and Westgate Las Vegas Superbook. I am Brady Cannon along with Mike Pritchard and James Salinas. Happy holidays to you, gentlemen. A belly full of turkey and maybe some good football picks on the way. We'll see if we can put together some good insight for everybody this year on the holiday weekend, the first of 2 holiday weekends, of course, as we wind down the stretch of the NFL season in 2025. Let's take a look at what happened in week 12. A bad week for the consensus plays in the Against the Spread contest, the Super Contest, and the Circa Sports Million. Both went 1-3-1. We were average. We did better than the consensus. 2-2-1 in Circa, 2-3 in the Super Contest. The consensus, a combined between the 2 contests now, under 40%. 46, 71, and 3. Not a whole lot of carnage in Circa Survivor in week 12, but week 13 is off to a rocky start. Of course, Thanksgiving is a separate week. If you survive Thanksgiving, you roll in and have to make picks again for this Sunday slate. All the dogs won outright on Thanksgiving. 13 entries out with the Lions, 78 entries out with the Chiefs, 269 entries out with the Baltimore Ravens in their loss to Joe Burrow in the Cincinnati Bengals. 538 entries remain, and 489 of them are on the Philadelphia Eagles on Black Friday. By the way, it's the last week for Super Contest College. D. Fleming 22 is in first place with 60.5 points, and our friend Chris Felica, Bear Bets, currently in 8th place with 56.5 points. Gentlemen, let's get going here. We did not, of course, take any of the Thursday game. That's a rule for us here on the Las Vegas Football Contest Show. It's Sunday only for this crew, and we begin in Indianapolis, where they will welcome the Houston Texans to town, a division game for the Colts coming off of a loss, facing the all-of-a-sudden red-hot Houston Texans. And Davis Mills, it looks like C.J. Stroud is back this week, James.
Well, and the defense. The defense has carried this football team, one of the best defensive lines across the board in the league, and they've really shown up. We've seen it on the bookends with the pickup of Daniel Hunter, as well as now Will Anderson, although he did pop up on the injury report yesterday with a chest injury. Was fine on Wednesday. Who knows what happened over Thursday night, but thinking about where this team is now, coming back, getting back into that race in the AFC South, and with the Colts having that loss and losing 2 out of their last 3, you look at the Colts schedule, Pritch, and this is not an easy schedule coming up for Indianapolis. So this isn't a foregone conclusion that they're going to win this division. You think about where the Colts are right now, having to face this Texans in this defense, then they're going to have to go from there. They don't have there's not a single game on here that's going to be a layup for them. They've got back-to-back road games at Jacksonville, at Seattle. They got to host San Francisco on a Monday night and then finish up the season at Houston. So I think Houston is right here in this mix. And we know Daniel Jones popped up on the injury report too with a fractured fibula or tibula, whatever, something wrong with his leg. I don't know when the hell that happened. He doesn't even know when that happened. I don't know how you don't know those things. And again, sometimes we look at these injury reports and these practice reports, and we know these guys manipulate these things. And he's been dealing with this kind of fracture in his leg for the last couple of weeks. Showed up last week, really kind of gimpy around there against Kansas City. Now you're going to face this front, Pritch, and have to go against this Houston Texans team. You're getting 4.5. I was kind of surprised that number was as big as it was. I like the Texans on this side.
Yeah, getting CJ Stroud back is going to be a lot for the confidence level of the defense, even though Davis Mills played serviceable, right? I mean, he managed the situations and he helped them, propel them to get that big victory over Buffalo. Here's what I was looking at, guys, is, the Texans in the last 5 games have played only one road game, and that was against Tennessee, right? And so you think you factor that in, and here you go again on the road. I mean, they had the comforts of being at home with that defense, and that defense really rose to the occasion, obviously, when you got that crowd and the speed and the ferociousness that they have there. I mean, that aided them big time. But now you're going to go into a hostile environment with that defense. Can you quiet the crowd on the other side? Because CJ Stroud and that offense is going to need every advantages that they can get. Now, they are running the ball better. They are playing more physical. But certainly when you're talking about breaking down this game, for me, it's about the Texans defense and can they control the line of scrimmage? Can they neutralize JT, right? Daniel Jones with the fibula fracture, that thing was stiff, and certainly that thing's painful. You're talking about a fractured bone. You can play on it. It's like a non-weight-bearing bone, but it can be cumbersome at times, right? I mean, it can be one of those situations where you're going to have to gut it out and play through that pain. If you get kicked on it or if somebody lands on it, it's over. So here comes Riley Leonard. And you wonder what happens to the Colts at that point. But yeah, I mean, Daniel Jones down at full strength, and it's a divisional game. To me, that's a fillable situation either way. I do like the Texans. I mean, I think CJ Stroud, guys, gives the Texans a lift there, even though, again, the fact that they're playing on the road for the first time, or not the first time, just they played one game in last 5 games against the Tennessee Titans, again, within a division. So that familiarity aspect certainly is going to be in play in this game.
Well, the market has responded, and in the live market, the Texans are down to 3.5-point underdogs. So you have to believe catching the 4.5 in the contest will be a popular side on the Houston Texans. Quarterback issues in Tampa Bay as well. The Buccaneers are favored by 2.5 or 3, and we have both in the contest here. 3 in the Circa Million, 2.5 in the Super Contest. I think that line is telling us that Baker Mayfield will not go in this game. We saw him injured last week. It'll be Teddy Bridgewater, we expect, for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Cardinals coming off of a loss as well. James, this feels like 2 teams going nowhere fast.
Yeah, the injuries really started to catch up with this Bucs team, and injuries all over the place. I think Bucky Irving now, he will be back though, so that could give them a lift offensively. But Fritch has been warning us about this division for not only this year, for the last few years when we're talking about the NFC South. What division is this? What division are the Bucs playing? Fritch, do we want to mess with this game? I'm done with the Bucs. I'm done with the NFC South. I want no part of this game.
Yeah, I hear you. I mean, just stay away. It stinks. I mean, they're an underachieving division. That's the most underachieving division that I can think of in a long time. The only advantage, you look at the Cardinals, they played with their backup quarterback longer, and they've adjusted. They have that on their side more so than what Tampa would have, trying to adjust, and Bridgewater being a starter, even though the guy was just coaching football not too long ago.
Well, I tell you what, how about the AFC South? Were we okay with that division? We'll touch on the Jaguars and the Titans, a beauty in Nashville, when we come back on the other side on the Las Vegas Football Contest Show.
San Diego is home to Wolfpack Hospitality Restaurants, located in beautiful La Jolla. Stop by Cove House, Shore Rider, and Dough Mama Pizzeria on your next trip. Visit Cove House, a top 100 brunch in California, or Shore Rider, serving up margaritas, fish tacos, and a vibe that will make you feel like a regular in no time. For a slice of New York-style pizza with a California twist, it's Dough Mama Pizzeria, where the wings and pizza draw compliments from around the world. Go to wolfpackhospitality.com, and we will look forward to seeing you at Cove House, Shore Rider, and Dough Mama Pizzeria. When the football contest crew isn't busy dominating the field and making plays that leave opponents in the dust, they're doing something just as exciting. They're playing My Vegas Slots. It's a top-ranked, free-to-play mobile app that lets you earn valuable real-world rewards from amazing partners like MGM Grand, Bellagio, and Norwegian Cruise Line. You can score hotel stays, great meals, show tickets, and more just for playing. Download My Vegas Slots today from your favorite app store. And if you're anything like Brady, James, and Mike, we know you're going to love it. That's a winning play you won't want to miss.
Welcome back into the Las Vegas Football Contest Show presented by Circa Sports and Westgate Las Vegas Superbook. Brady Cannon, Mike Pritchard, and James Salinas with you is breaking down the Sunday card for Thanksgiving week in the NFL. And we have landed on the AFC South matchup in Nashville. The Tennessee Titans looking for that elusive just second win of the season. They will host division rival, the Jacksonville Jaguars, who for the second week in a row, Mike, are a road favorite. Now, we went against them last week in Arizona. They ended up with a push. They won that game by exactly 3 points. Here they are, anywhere from a 6 to 6.5. I was hoping to catch a 7 here and take the home dog, but apparently the market feels the same way as I do. We're 6.5 in the contest, and in the live market, the Jaguars are down to a flat 6-point favorite. Where do you stand in this one down in Nashville?
Well, I'll start here, and it's always about Trevor for me, and the situation being on the road. Last week made some good throws, did some good things at times to help propel that team. They ran the ball very well too, though. But you're playing a team and the Titans that are very familiar with you again, and the Titans are so desperate for a win, right? And you think about the dysfunction, you think about where the Titans are. Dead last almost in every category. But they are feisty. They have been feisty. And mistakes made on the road here for a team that really needs to prove itself if they're willing to be that playoff participant. So this is a tough game. Right? I think there's a lot of pressure there on Trevor Lawrence. Now, 6.5 points. Do I favor Trevor Lawrence as a guy that on the road I'm comfortable laying that with? No. Because I do think that he does have the ability to make those critical mistakes, and they're going to have to throw it. You can't just rely on ATN and certainly the rushing game. So now defensively, I mean, I've been a big fan of what they've done on that side of the ball. Even though they haven't had the impact of Hunter, which is fine. But on the other side, it's the Titans and I think they're getting better for what they're doing, but they're not doing a lot of great things. And Cam, is still trying to do miraculous plays and certainly gets himself in trouble sometimes. But this is a tough one for me. I can't lay it, James, with Jacksonville, just because now if they were at home, that's a different story. But on the road, there's just so many variables for Trevor Lawrence in my mind.
Definitely can't lay it. And think about where the Titans are. They have been covering. To that respect, they were a big underdog last week at home to Seattle, covered that 2-touchdown spread or 13.5, wherever that was, covered a bigger spread against Houston as well. So they've been covering these numbers. You talked about, Rich, how they are last in a lot of categories offensively. Well, one of the categories they're first in is sacks. They're getting sacked. Cam Ward has been sacked 45 times this year. And you mentioned the Jaguars defense. The defensive line will travel, but I don't know, with this team, Jacksonville having to travel again on the road. This is the 4th road game in 5 weeks for Jacksonville. And then who do they have on deck? The division leader, Indianapolis Colts, next week. This really feels like a flat spot in the schedule. You think about all that travel. No one's going to be at this game. Yeah, it is a road game for Jacksonville, but I don't know how many people are going to be in this Titans game there as fans. But to that point, I think the Titans do continue to show signs of fighting and competing. I think this is a flat spot here for the Jaguars. I kind of like the Titans, Brady, here getting the number.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. This is one that jumped out to me early in the week. Again, Jacksonville as a road favorite is a red flag for me. It didn't quite work out last week. Maybe the second time around it will. Red alert, the NFC South. The Carolina Panthers are at home catching 10.5 points from the Los Angeles Rams. In my book, the best team in the NFL, and the market would show that too. They have become the favorite as far as the conference, the Super Bowl, what have you. This team is absolutely rolling. James, I tell you what, I mean, 10.5 is a lot. And I think it's probably going to be popular because the Rams look so good to lay the number. And that's risky business. But boy, this team is really rolling. They look powerful, does the Los Angeles Rams.
Absolutely. Offensively, I mean, Stafford, now Devontae Adams in the mix in the red zone inside the 10-yard line. I mean, he's got such quick release, getting himself open at the line of scrimmage down there on the red zone, getting a lot of man coverage because they really got to roll a lot towards Puka down there. Tremendous receiver. What bookends over there, man? It is really tough. I just thinking about Pritch, Carolina from last week. I mean, they've fought, they competed, but Bryce Young was terrible in that game. And then play calling as well. Canales going 1st and goal at the 1. Yeah, let's go ahead and get our smallish quarterback play action. Can't see over the top. Gets picked off in the back of the end zone. I think there's a lot to be desired for this play calling with Carolina. They talked about it during this week. Do they get back to Dowdell? So we know Dowdell can grind out yards and get stronger as the game goes on. I think there's going to be a commitment again this week coming into rushing the football for the Panthers here against the Rams team that maybe you don't see the best effort or energy out of the Rams considering where they've been and what's on deck for them going down the stretch.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, James, I made a statement a few weeks ago on the show about how I didn't believe Canales can handle this roster. And here's what I mean by that. Dowdell had 6 touches, 6 carries in that game. And you're talking about Hubbard and you're looking at these situations. Okay, you paid one guy and now this other guy, Rico, is a lot better than he is. And so how are you going to handle that situation? How are you going to massage the egos of these professional athletes? I don't think Canales is handling that well. His game plan was indicative of that too. I think he's nervous about putting Bryce Young in certain situations, but then, you're kind of having to do certain things, like you said, to play action inside the red zone there at 10-yard line. You can't just pound the ball in there because you're going from a finesse back like Hubbard to a bruiser and an electric back, and that makes your job easier as an offensive lineman to Dowdell, but you're not handling it right. So I have zero confidence in Carolina and certainly what Canales wants to do. And you're right, Brady. I mean, I think the Rams at the beginning of the year, everybody talked about Matthew Stafford in that back. If there wasn't any questions about that back, I think this would have been a lot of people's Super Bowl favorite. And it's playing out that way so far through the year so far.
Yeah, you'd love to have a ticket on Matthew Stafford to win MVP because when that back news came out, I think he went to 40 or something even higher to 1. Now he is minus money to win the MVP in the NFL this year. More NFC South when we come back. The Saints and the Falcons as we continue to break them all down here Thanksgiving week on the Las Vegas Football Contest Show.
Want to gamble like the pros? At LasVegasAdvisor.com, you'll find the world's best how-to books, software, and strategy cards featuring blackjack, poker, video poker, and of course, sports betting, including the Stanford Wong Classic Sharp Sports Betting. Don't forget LVA's Member Rewards coupon book, offering discounts on dining and entertainment, including a buy one, get one for the awesome lobster buffet at the Palms, and more than $700 in gambling-free play, match play, and bonus offers. Up your gambling game today at LasVegasAdvisor.com.
All right, Mike, I'll start with you. We are headed back to the NFC South, a double dip. And of course, you resided there for many years with the Atlanta Falcons. They're next up. They're on the road at New York. But we'll start in Miami, where the Dolphins are hosting the New Orleans Saints. What do you think about this one, my friend?
This one, the Dolphins and the dysfunction of the Dolphins and the head coach situation, can you look across the field now? The dysfunction and the head coach situation with the Saints and you wonder what's going on there as people are just unsatisfied. And I think from a Saints standpoint, you just want to win and you want it to look better. You want to see some improvement. You're not seeing that. Yeah, you're not sure about your quarterback situation. You're not sure about your star players situation. I mean, at one point we thought they were going to trade Kamara and Olave even. They traded some other guys, but not those two key players. But those key players are out, or they might be out. I mean, they're certainly banged up. The Dolphins on the other side, this is, and James talks about this all the time, this is turned into a pride situation. Not only Tua calling out teammates, teammates kind of responding and key injuries, Tyreek Hill, and then McDaniel too from a head coaching standpoint. Once we saw that blow up between the running backs coach, Duberville, and one of the running backs, I think that was an embarrassing situation for that coaching staff. And they probably said, you know what, we got to embrace these players a little bit more as opposed to trying to hold on to our jobs. And I think we're seeing that, guys. I think at least I'm hearing about that. So this is an opportunity for where the Miami Dolphins playing together, playing solid football. I mean, this is an opportunity, I think, to side with the Dolphins here. I just don't see where the Saints are growing and getting better. And Kellen Moore as a play caller, I mean, he's running out of options, James. And in particular, if he doesn't have Olave or Kamara out there, I mean, I Taysom Hill and everybody else, I mean, all these guys can only do so much with that football team.
Yeah, Pritch, you talk about dysfunction. I mean, again, here we're back to this same division again with the Saints, NFC South, another division that has just been our kryptonite. It's just been so difficult to get to. I get it. I don't want to play anything with the Saints. Olave probably not going to play. He popped up with a back injury on the injury report. Kamara most likely not going to play with that ankle injury sustained last week against the Falcons. So no play for me. I'm kind of with you. It'd only be the Dolphins or nothing for me. But back into this division again, and now we go to the Falcons. Now the Falcons having to go on the road as a favorite, 2.5-point favorite in this matchup against the Jets. This is kind of one of those interesting games where, you know, there's some, Pritch loves to talk about the axes to grind, especially for coaches going back to their former team, and that's where it is for defensive coordinator Jeff Ulbrich coming back in to New York. He was the defensive coordinator there, as well as the interim head coach for a bit in New York. Coming back, but you know, he doesn't get out there and make tackles and have to make plays. And in this game here, for a dome team and the Falcons, Brady having to go on the road to New York, this is going to be a miserable weather game. It is going to be incredibly windy. It is going to be rainy there. And I think for a team like the Jets that's used to playing in bad weather, man, can we really get behind the Jets? I kind of can here as a small dog playing at home against the Falcons.
Yeah, I'm with you, James. It was 3 ugly home dogs that jumped off the card to me this week, and that was the Titans, the Jets, and the Washington Commanders. We'll get to that game later on. That is the Sunday night affair. Next up, Pritch, in Cleveland, another bad weather game. The 49ers, fresh off of their win on Monday night, pretty convincing over the Carolina Panthers, despite the turnovers by Brock Purdy in the first half. They right the ship, win that game, and cover. Now they go on the road laying points at Cleveland. A tougher test in Cleveland for sure defensively, Mike.
Yeah, I mean, people are going to look back at Cleveland, what they did and how they dismantled the Raiders. But that was the Raiders, right? I mean, the Raiders had dysfunctionally fired everybody off on the offensive side of the ball, except Pete Carroll's son. He still remains as an offensive line coach. But, you know, the 49ers have evolved with Purdy. You remember at the beginning of the year, but Mac Jones, they kind of protected Mac, and Mac played well. He was serviceable. But now with Purdy, even though he's making mistakes at times, that playbook is wide open. So I think that puts a lot of pressure on the Cleveland Browns and that defense. And, you know, Shador with his second start, the more starts you start to have, that's when things get difficult, right? Because there's tape. And now you got Robert Saleh and that defense who's playing better. Those young guys are playing better. They can dissect a little bit more of tendencies of a Shador Sanders. So that's going to be tough for Cleveland, even though they haven't really been able to score a lot. I like the 49ers in this matchup, bad weather and all.
Yeah, it was a nice soft spot for Shador Sanders to make his NFL starting debut against the Las Vegas Raiders. Congratulations to him. This one might be a little different at home against the Niners. We're back with more in just a moment. Stick around. It's the Las Vegas Football Contest Show.
Las Vegas isn't just a place to play, it's a great place to live. Louis Payon with Magenta Real Estate is a trusted 5-star real estate professional who's called Vegas home for over 3 decades. Whether you're looking to buy or sell, Louis will guide you every step of the way with proven strategies that deliver results. Call Louis today at 702-849-7160. That's 702-849-7160. Louis Payon is the official realtor of the Las Vegas Football Contest Show.
Welcome back in. It is the Las Vegas Football Contest Show presented by Circa Sports and Westgate Las Vegas Superbook. Happy Thanksgiving here from the program, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, which you can find online at footballcontestshow.com. Everything is up there, our picks, our record, our sponsors, everything you need to find out more about the Las Vegas Football Contest Show at footballcontestshow.com. Gentlemen, it is time to shift over to survivor mode, and this is the gauntlet. We have talked about it. The gauntlet of Thanksgiving and, of course, Circa Survivor, where it's a separate week. Now you have to roll into Sunday and make yet another winning pick. We did not see all that much carnage in week 12, but week 13 is off to a rocky start. You had the Detroit Lions eliminate 13 people in Circa Survivor. 78 entries out with the Kansas City Chiefs losing to the Dallas Cowboys, and 269 entries go by the wayside with Lamar Jackson and company falling to Joe Burrow and the Bengals. Now, the Eagles will get going on Black Friday, where you have almost 480 entries on Philadelphia to take care of the Bears, and you only have less than 550 entries still alive in Circa Survivor. So who knows? By the time we get through Thanksgiving week and into Sunday, there might only be a handful of entries left in this contest. Circa Grandissimo is down to just 3 remaining entries, and they are all Eagles fans today. So Survivor really getting crazy. Now, if you make it to Sunday, Mike, I'll start with you. There are 4 big favorites on the board that we have yet to discuss: the Rams, the Seahawks, the Chargers, and the Patriots. If you have any of those 4 teams available, I got to imagine that's the direction you're headed.
Yeah, I mean, I would think so. I would believe so. Although we are seeing the league kind of catch up to itself, and in other words, you're seeing more and more upsets. I mean, just let alone on Thanksgiving, we saw 3 upsets from underdogs, and we're seeing underdogs kind of catch up to certain situations. Even we just talked about the Seattle Seahawks. You know, they didn't cover that number against the lowly Titans. Now, does home field matter? I mean, you look at from a straight up situation, it's over 70%. Talking about home favorites. So I think it does come into some consideration. But these teams, and Tom Brady said this during a broadcast, his game on Thursday. You pretty much are who you are, and okay, how do you become better from here? Do teams understand how to become better from here? Like people have your tendencies, they have everything about you, every data point imaginable, but now you have to evolve as a team to overcome all that, especially now in the particular calendar situation that we're in. So to me, there's only a few teams that understand that. I mean, the Rams, they clearly understand that, having won a Super Bowl with this quarterback and this coach. And so as we watch the Rams, they're getting better. Seattle, they're overcoming a lot of mistakes from Sam Darnold, and that right there is an interesting, intriguing situation. The Chargers are getting healthy, I think, or they just adjusted to Justin Herbert in a new role, and these playmakers that they have, but then defensively, tremendously improving right there on that side of the ball. And then the Eagles gone about their business, guys. I think Fangio still is a premium situational play caller from a defensive standpoint. They really make it difficult for you scoring in the red zone. And then on offensive side of the ball, Jalen Hurts has turned into this pocket passer, but we're starting to see a little bit of him running it now. And so I wonder, eventually, will the Eagles evolve into something different? And especially when they get some players back too. So, the Eagles I'm intrigued by that. I'm keeping a close eye on them and their matchup against the Bears because this is a game where the Bears could sneak in there. But I think the Eagles are trying to round out into shape if they can. They gave one away against Dallas. But this is a team that they understand what they need to do to get better or be more consistent, James. So it's intriguing all the way around as we watch the league from a survivor standpoint or a grandissimo standpoint. The Ravens go down, and so now all of a sudden you're Bears fans. But this is what I love about Survivor. You get to this part of the calendar year and you're still in the contest, you can hedge yourself and monetize, like Mike Palm likes to say, and make some money as you hope to stay in the thing. But if you don't stay in it, okay, now you've really put yourself in a nice situation to monetize not only get your entry back, but to make some good money, some good solid money for getting this far in this contest.
Well, for Circa Survivor come this Sunday, I mean, we're getting ready. I think we're approaching kickoff. As we're taping this right now and we're talking, fellas, the Philadelphia Eagles are going to be playing the Bears here in just a matter of moments. We don't obviously know what's going to happen with that game. If the Bears end up winning that, and so it'll be fun to watch this and see what happens. If the Bears end up winning that, you're going to have 49 entries left in Survivor. So how does that change from talk about monetization and going into Sunday if you're one of those 49? So I think there's a lot of Bears fans right now, if you're still alive in Survivor. If you had the Bengals yesterday, or you had the Cowboys or the Packers, I mean, that is a big spot to be in and going to be a fun game to watch. But thinking about if you are moving on, and it's not just restricted to Survivor and Circa. I mean, there's plenty of Survivor contests out there, and you're looking at where these matchups are. Pritch, the two things, right? The biggest favorite on the board really is right now it's Seattle, and Seattle gets to host the Minnesota Vikings with third string quarterback. He's an undrafted rookie, Max Brosmer. Never heard of him before. Was only thrown 8 passes in his young career here, just cleanup time, mop up time, and garbage time that he's played. Or you also have the Chargers, and the Chargers are playing the Raiders. And we talked about dysfunctional franchises and dysfunctional teams. There's one right there with the Raiders. And if you're playing the Chargers, I don't think there's another spot. If you have the Chargers available, Brady, there is not another spot on their schedule to finish out the season where you say, yeah, that's where I want to take the Chargers. They're hosting Philadelphia. They're playing at Kansas City, at a hot Dallas Cowboys team. Then they're going to play the Texans and then at Denver. There is nowhere else on that schedule. This would be the spot to play the Chargers in any kind of Survivor contest playing the Raiders this weekend.
Mike, you have a lot of intel locally here with our Las Vegas Raiders franchise, and I have to believe the Rams, there's probably not too many people left in Circa Survivor that still have the Rams available, or the Seahawks, or Survivor contests all over the country for that matter. Those teams have been good all year long and very popular selections. I think the Chargers could be your most popular selection on Sunday for those people that have made it through this Thanksgiving gauntlet, and I don't disagree with them. The Raiders, we talk about dysfunction. Give me your insights, Mike. We saw some arguing on the sidelines. I mean, that was embarrassing. I said it last week. How are the Raiders favored by 3.5, 4 points over the Browns? Well, I guess I was right, and we were stupid. We felt something smelled funny with that line, and we stayed away from it. It was the easiest pick on the board. Would you go against the Raiders again with no problem, Mike?
No problem at all. I mean, I think you get so much. You don't have a culture, and James talks about this all the time. The Raiders' biggest problem is that they don't have a culture. They don't have the same players year in and year out because they get rid of guys. They get rid of top line guys, or they get rid of guys that are glue guys that understand how to build a culture. And so with that being a situation, it's always going to be dysfunctional because they don't understand that they get rid of people way too soon and there's no continuity. Also, yeah, I mean, the Chargers to me would certainly give me confidence this week in Survivor.
All right, it's back to the against the spread perspective with the Bills and the Steelers when we return on the Las Vegas Football Contest Show.
Want to enter the biggest and best football contests in Las Vegas? Look no further than footballcontest.com to get the info you need to succeed. Covering Circa Million, Circa Survivor, Grandissimo, and every super contest at the Westgate Superbook. Reserve the most trusted proxy service in the business now at footballcontest.com. Maddie and Tony have been leaders in the industry for 20 years. They submit your picks while you focus on picking winners. Experience matters. Go with the pros at footballcontest.com and start winning now.
Looking for your next ultimate golf experience? Discover Valley High Golf Club, a tropical paradise on the Las Vegas Strip, featuring lush greenery, water features, Balinese tropical plants, white sand, and black volcanic rock, creating an enchanting atmosphere. Valley High creates a memorable golf experience for a typical foursome, a group celebrating a bachelor or bachelorette party, or your next corporate outing. It's award-winning golf on the Strip, Vegas style. Book your ultimate golf experience now at valleyhighgolfclub.com.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. It is the Las Vegas Football Contest Show presented by Circa Sports and Westgate Las Vegas Superbook. Contest season is at a fever pitch right now. We're coming down the wire. It's the gauntlet. It's Thanksgiving week. Everything is on the line, and it is on the line in Pittsburgh for the Steelers and the Bills. The Steelers got a big lift as far as that AFC North division position with the Ravens' loss on Thanksgiving to the Bengals. And the Buffalo Bills, boy, this team, you just can't figure them out. They blow somebody out one week, they lose the next week. They're coming off of a loss to the Houston Texans. Now they roll into Pittsburgh, where they will see Aaron Rodgers back under center for Pittsburgh. And James, when I crunch all the numbers, I come out to the Bills as a 2.5-point favorite. Here they are in the contest, favored by 3.
Yeah, they're laying the 3 on the road at Pittsburgh. Look at matchups, and for the Bills, it's all on Josh Allen, and he's fully capable. We saw that 2 weeks ago when they played Tampa, and he had 6 touchdowns, 3 passing and 3 rushing touchdowns for Josh Allen, and playing at the MVP level. But then he goes and turns the football over 3 times the next week against Houston. Now, granted, that's a hell of a defense there with the Houston Texans, but that's been an issue for the Bills recently. The last 3 games, they've turned the ball over 3 times in each of those games, and it was the heroics of Josh Allen to have to pull that game out against Tampa a couple weeks back. Their run defense, and it's been suspect all season long. That's been the weakness coming in. It's kind of been their weakness for the last couple of years. It's just been a smallish team up front, especially in the middle, right? Their front 7, in particular, the linebacking crew. The secondary was always the point of strength for this Bills team, but they've had a lot of turnover and attrition this past couple years coming into this season as well for the Bills. So defensively, it's really been a struggle. Although, Pritchett, look at this game here with the Steelers and the matchup. And, I know Aaron Rodgers is coming back, but, Aaron Rodgers doesn't play defense. He doesn't tackle. He doesn't rush the passer. We didn't see a whole lot of that out of the Steelers defense last week and getting throttled and giving up as many points as they did to the Chicago Bears. Man, this is a tough game for me. It's going to be a fun game to watch. It's going to be a high-level, high-intensity game in the AFC. I'm not really sure where I want to go. I don't think I can go with this game. I just don't have a good feel for this game. I don't like where Buffalo has been defensively, but I don't think the Steelers and what they're doing offensively really takes advantage of some of those weaknesses defensively for the Bills, because the Steelers are not a team that I see rushing the football. Really, it's short passing game from Rodgers. Is that something that's going to sustain here in this matchup, or does Josh Allen just do his heroics on the road and get a win in Pittsburgh?
Yeah, I think we're running out of heroics a little bit for Josh Allen. Look at Lamar Jackson. These guys, even Patrick Mahomes to a certain extent, they're up in age now. We don't look at it that this is year 8 for Josh Allen, right? Same thing with Lamar Jackson, same draft class. Patrick is a year ahead of him, but we're so used to everything being so easy for these guys. But these guys are getting older now, and I talk about this the whole show about evolving, and you wonder what the Bills can evolve into. Can they lean on Cook? He's banged up a little bit. They got 2 offensive tackles, I believe, that are going to be out, Deion Dawkins and Spencer Brown in this game. So now you got the Steelers on the other side with what they want to do with the zone blitz and everything like that, and certainly try to neutralize Josh Allen. And can Josh Allen turn back into that running Josh Allen? I don't know if the Bills want to risk that. They would rather see him throw the football than take over and run it, because they want to save him for the playoff run. But they got to make the playoffs. I think they're a desperate team. They haven't had to be this desperate in quite a while. And I wonder, from a pressure standpoint, can they handle that? The Steelers, they're going about their business. They can thank the Bengals for knocking off the Ravens a little bit here, but this is a chance for them to take control over their destiny a little bit. I think Tomlin will get the response that he wants. Rudolph coming in there as a quarterback, we saw Arthur Smith be able to call the game. Now with Rodgers coming back, we wonder, at least I do, will they go back to what Rodgers wants to run, or will they go back to what's been working for them offensively from a play calling standpoint from your coordinators? So that's the only trepidation I have. I don't know if Rodgers is going to take over this game the way that he wants to, and therefore I do have a little bit of pause there with the Steelers, Brady.
Well, I tell you what, let's move on to the nation's capital where the Washington Commanders will host the Denver Broncos on Sunday night. And this is an interesting situation. We expect that it'll be Marcus Mariota at quarterback once again for the Commanders. And James, you know how I like to treat bye weeks. Both of these teams are coming out of a bye week. The Denver Broncos have won 8 games in a row. The Washington Commanders have lost 6 games in a row. Now, who's the bye week good for? It's good for that team that is struggling. Not so good for the Broncos, who are on an absolute roll. I think the pause kills some momentum. I would have to take the home dog here in Washington, catching 5.5.
Well, and some competitive pride has to show up for Washington. You think about the last couple home games that they had. I know the last game was it Spain, I think it was, or Barcelona, wherever the hell it was. It was this international game for Washington. But the last 2 home games they've played, they've been on, I believe they were on Sunday night. That game against Seattle got completely dominated. Same thing against Detroit, just dominated. And I think from that perspective, being at home and thinking about how they've played, Pritch, you can talk about this as a player. When you've been embarrassed, especially on national TV, when you're the standalone game, which is going to be the case here on against Denver on Sunday night, there's got to be some competitive pride that shows up. Forget about the season. The season is this Sunday night against a hot Broncos team. I kind of do. I like the points here with Washington.
Yeah, because on the other side, where the Broncos going to get points, right? I mean, I think from Brady's standpoint, and he's right, you lose that momentum. If they even had any on the offensive side of the ball, they get Patrick Surtain back, though. And that guy is going to be a difference maker, even more so for that defense. But, coming back and playing against this Commanders team that's going to try to want to do so many different things horizontally, take the under, I guess. But for me, guys, this is a stay away game. But I can see how you get there with the Commanders, though.
Yeah, it's just about that bye week. And I agree with James. Competitive pride. They've had some time to, get things right, show up, and put a good effort forth on Sunday night. We will see. We're back with our picks when we return on the Las Vegas Football Contest Show.
Steiner's, a Nevada-style pub, invites you to play the best keno and video poker in Las Vegas. Promos are how we roll, so make the most of your gaming dollars with ongoing promotions, daily free play, bonuses, and more. With a chance to win Knights, Raiders, Aviators tickets, and big money with all those jackpots. It's not only great gaming at Steiner's, it's the 24 awesome rotating draft beers and the best appetizers to match. Steiner's, the Nevada-style pub, with 3 locations across the Vegas Valley. Steiner's, I love this place.
Welcome back in. It is the Las Vegas Football Contest Show presented by Circa Sports and Westgate Las Vegas Superbook. Brady Cannon, James Salinas, and Mike Pritchard here with you on Thanksgiving week in NFL contest land in Las Vegas. Here are our picks for week 13. And we've got really 2 different cards here. In Circa Millions, we are actually on the outside looking in a possible long shot to cash in the quarterly prize, but we have to go rogue. We have to go oppo. We got to go contrarian and hope that we go 5-0 with some very unpopular selections. So that's where we're headed. We're going to lay the bad number, 5.5 with the 49ers on the road against the Browns. We're going to lay the bad number, the 6.5 with the Jaguars on the road in Nashville. We're going to take the 3 with the Arizona Cardinals at Tampa Bay. We'll take the 3 in Pittsburgh with the Steelers, and we will take the 7.5 on Monday night with the Giants. Now, in the Super Contest, we are not in the running or anything like that for one of their mini contests. We're going to play it more straightforward. We'll take the 49ers -5. We'll take it with the Texans +4.5. The Jets as a home dog +2.5. The Titans +6.5 against those Jaguars who we selected in the Circa contest. And then the Commanders on Sunday night +5.5, having lost 6 in a row coming out of a bye week. James, I'll throw it to you for an assessment, a little bit on our contest theory and also the Monday night, or the one game we have left to cover on the show.
That's what it comes down to. I think because the Monday night play, and this is just, I can speak from experience. The first year, the Circa Millions #1, the first year was 2018, 2019, whenever that was. It was right here at this time. It was actually the week before Thanksgiving. I was right there in the mix for that quarterly prize. And one of the contrarian pieces that I made sure that I did was I had to play the Monday night. It didn't really matter which side I was taking for the Monday night, because if it came down to the fact that if it came down to Monday night and I had the entry and I had an opportunity to win that, I could go on the other side. That's exactly what I did. I actually flew out to Vegas. Sports betting wasn't legal here. I was betting locally, but I couldn't get down like the 35,000 that I wanted to put down to hedge that. So it was really key for me to play that Monday night game, which I did from a contest theory perspective. And that's what we're doing here, taking the Monday night play with the Giants. Now, breaking down the game, Pritch, I like the Giants here. I mean, we know Jackson Dart's going to come back at the quarterback spot, and he brings a lot of juice and a lot of energy to that offense. But it's really the injuries that we saw last week for New England, in particular up front. The rookie left tackle and left guard are both going to be out. Now, that was a big question mark coming into the season for the New England Patriots. What was that offensive line going to look like? Well, they did a hell of a job drafting those guys. They have really solidified that left side of that offensive line. They are not going to be there. And Morgan Moses is out or not out, but he is questionable with an illness. There's just a lot of issues going on up front for this New England Patriots offensive line. And for somebody like Drake May, and we've seen it all season long, Pritch, he's not afraid to stand in there and hold that ball for that last fraction of a second to make that throw down the field. Takes a lot of hits, takes a lot of licks, hard hits. I think he's going to get hard hit again in this game, because it's just in his nature to hold that football with a lot of backups on that offensive line. I like the Giants here plus that number, Pritch.
Yeah, same here. I mean, I think the outlier situation, one of the biggest ones has been the Patriots. It's fascinating to me because I'm still trying to get this gambling thing down about how, the schedule means nothing or does it mean anything. And because the Patriots haven't really played a strong schedule, and yet they're getting all this praise. Drake May is getting praise for MVP and, that kind of thing. So Aikman said something last week where he's looking forward to watching this guy play on Monday Night Football and covering this game. So I wonder, underneath behind the curtain here, how is Drake May handling this spotlight? This kind of thing. This is a different animal, Monday Night Football, and the position that the Patriots are in. Vrabel as a head coach, I think he's able to help them navigate it. But the Giants with Jameis Winston, I mean, they almost 400 yards throwing the football. And they discovered something in terms of how prolific they can be. Now Jackson Dart's coming in, and there's that excitement from a young player. So you got two young quarterbacks going at it in this matchup. And I tell you what, the Giants and that defense, I mean, if there's some pride there and they want to show out on the showcase game, Monday Night Football here a little bit, I give them a chance as well there to cover that spread.
Yeah, this really is the Super Bowl for the New York Giants. The schedule has been difficult all year long. They have not had a lot of success. This is a big one. And by the way, they have some history of success against these New England Patriots. Again, 49ers, Jaguars, Cardinals, Steelers, Giants, and Circa. 49ers, Texans, Jets, Titans, Commanders in the Super Contest. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. We'll catch you next week right here on the Las Vegas Football Contest Show.
Thanks for tuning in to the Las Vegas Football Contest Show.
Don't you just love football? God, what a fun sport.
Subscribe today on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts to receive weekly alerts as soon as the show's available. Good luck with your contest selections.
Pay that man his money.
And we'll talk to you next week.